Alright, so we're back in this very gloomy and rainy hellhole. Hopefully we can finish up the missions here and get on with our lives. But first we will head back to HQ, back to the Haven, to pretty much rendezvous with some of our crew members, as it's been a while. I think the Fallow Mire is definitely something new and something good that the BioWare team has given us in terms of challenges, landscape, graphics, gameplay, everything else included. But maybe because I'm playing at maybe not the highest difficulty, but I still feel not very challenged because, again, as you may already realize in this Let's Play, I'm not really going hardcore right now. Not really focused. Most of the time, I don't even play in tactical mode, to be honest, to give you guys a different perspective of this game. But I think moving forward, I've probably said this a couple thousand times already, but I would try my best to remember to play in tactical mode. But it just feels like this game is still stuck at Dragon Age 2 era, where it's more action based as opposed to the Origins original series, which is more tactical only gameplay. And hopefully this game doesn't freeze on me again. Got my fingers crossed. Alright, the door has been opened. Let's slowly ascend. Alright, good. We froze for like a second there. Alright, good. We're good.
Anything you can spare will help the wounded.
Oh, okay. I thought we froze there again. So we actually almost capped out our inventory here as well. Warden Battle Mage armor. We don't need that, do we? Let's see here. Belt of electric... whatever. Enhanced lunge and slash ring we can't even use, so we can just sell that, I suppose. Yeah, there's no point of selling this either. It's not worth any gold. Balanced pommel, superior enchanter staff blade. That's a mouthful, but I really don't think we need that either. We'll keep it for now, just in case. Red velvet, or sorry, ring velvet. My mistake. I'm still thinking about those red velvet cakes that I passed by. Must be it. I don't know where I read that the word red was in there. Red velvet. No. Prayer stones, personal lock, glass fox figurines, toy soldiers. We don't need any of that stuff. Hopefully you guys find my voice a little bit less cracky and clogged. I did manage to get some allergy medicine. Excuse me. And hopefully the quality of my voice is a lot better than it was probably 3-4 episodes ago. Ancestral Blade of Lidis. Dwarven Rock Crusher. It's actually a lot crappier than our Templar's First, sorry. Bleeder of Souls. I think that's actually a knife. At first I thought it was a staff. Well, that should have cleared almost half of our inventory, I think. Yeah, we're down to 32 out of 60. Warden Battle Mage armor, Inquisition Battle Mage armor. Yeah, I guess we'll take the battle mage armor. Oh shoot, I just saw the wrong one. No, I didn't, right? No, I didn't. Okay. Moving on. Oh, goodness. That's a terrible outfit for Vivian. Really need to go armor shopping, but we don't have that necessary requirement for levels because the game isn't just giving us much, you know? We're not getting enough levels. Now you might be asking why I'm actually going through my inventory and equipping some of the party members that I hardly ever use. Some of the new stuff, some of the new gear that we picked up over time. Part of the reason why is I'm not using any FAQs still for this Let's Play. Still remains the first Let's Play that I've done. First time I've ever played this game, period. Secondly, if you have played Origins, you'll notice that there will be certain time, or if you've played Mass Effect, any of the Mass Effect titles, you'll understand near the middle and end of the game, you have to actually send off certain party members to certain missions while you're doing the main quest simultaneously. So what this means is you got to make sure your party members are well equipped for the task at hand. Because if you don't, there's a really big possibility of them dying and then not being able to return in the next title. Now, having said that, we also need to be doing their so-called loyalty missions or loyalty quests. I don't know if that's available in this particular title, in this Inquisition, but I'm fairly certain there are certain things we have to accomplish first to ensure that they don't die. Now, this is a spoiler alert, but if you haven't played Mass Effect up to this date, I don't really know why you're watching this Let's Play to begin with, but
I've got to admit that's a twist I didn't see coming. One thing you saw in the future worries me. I mean, it was all bad. But red lyrium and Ferelden, infecting people and growing out of them, that's bad. Finding more of it really punches a hole in my red lyrium at the temple was a coincidence theory.
Well, you know what they say, there's no such thing as a coincidence.
How long does it take for red lyrium to grow? How fast can it spread?
It took years to infect people in Kirkwall, but no one there was actually ingesting the stuff. This Elder One managed to take the worst thing I can think of and make it worse. That's an accomplishment.
Indeed, that's quite the accomplishment.
The Inquisition has the numbers to track down all this lyrium and destroy it.
I hope so. I don't want to think about what happens if it starts a plague. I've got people trying to find out where the red stuff came from. I think maybe we should make that a priority. But that's enough doom and gloom. You just won a big victory for the Inquisition. What are you going to do to celebrate?
You know me, Varric. I'm all about business. No pleasure.
We can't know what's coming. Best not to get too comfortable.
I can't disagree with that. But maybe you should try to relax while you can. Things should be calm around here for at least the next hour. Take a moment to enjoy it. If the world's about to end, I'm sure the Seeker will let us know.
That's an overly optimistic view of this world, but we'll take it.
Can I ask you something, Varric?
You want to talk about me? I'm flattered. Also inclined toward extravagant lies.
Alright, so there's not anything new Varric can tell us. There are no new dialogue conversation options available. Well, since we're here, we might as well talk to everybody else. See what's up, see what's going on. Alright, let's see if there's any new dialogue available.
You seem to know a great many people.
I have made friends, and on occasion enemies. It's unavoidable. Back to work.
We've heard that line 3 times.
No, they don't.
Let's check on good old Sarah.
Well, that's mages all over. So many... Chasing the Lord Seeker, I hear. Anyone who thinks they need Lord in front of the name, that's bad. Bet he's got a portrait taller than he is. That's your first clue to a total arse. It's a fact.
I'm not really sure how to respond to that.
Tell me about yourself.
What about me?
Well, we don't actually know where you're from.
You're not like most of the elves I've met.
Thanks, right? Or was that an insult? Suppose I could go barefoot and wind. Like that's soulless, right? Never be as good as we were. Well, who's we? I'm just fine.
Yeah, I get that you don't like Solace very much. He's not exactly the exciting type.
I think there's more to it than that. A few thousand years more.
Hey, someone wants to be angry about old debts, be angry. Be a terror that never lets an enemy forget. But if you're digging it up so you can wear it, that's just weird. I mean, the Dalish don't really know. They have stories, but that's all they are. It's all fancy dress, not history.
Right.
How about the basics? Where are you from?
Ferelden?
I got that from the accent. Where in Ferelden?
All over? Okay, fine. Denerim for a bit. South, north, wherever I want.
This woman can never give me a straight answer.
There are no connections you want to mention at all?
Nope.
How very Canary of you.
What?
Never mind.
Good, right?
Your skills. Who taught you how to use a bow?
No one.
That seems unlikely.
What? I picked it up here and there. Mostly it just makes sense. It's not like that for you.
I wish one can conquer magic that easily.
Never occurred to you that doing what you do should require some effort?
Well, yeah. I practice. Some. Not like Cullen and his pets. I mean, you miss, then you don't. Is it that hard to see when it's wrong?
Is it an elf thing?
Most I know couldn't find an arrow sitting on it. Right. Maybe I just make it look easy in shy company. Fact still is, no teacher. Where would I find one in alleyways anyway?
We'll talk later.
If you say so.
For some odd reason, I really think she's lying. She just doesn't want to reveal her past to us just yet. I mean, I'm pretty sure that's a loyalty mission on its own right. But if she doesn't want to talk about it, we won't force her into it. I don't think there's an option to do so anyways, so. We'll see what we can get out of Mr. Dorion and his, I guess, aristocratic upbringing.
That just occurred to you?
I meant, you must have been part of the circle of magi in the south. Meaning, you were locked away like a criminal, at least until you rebelled. It's such a bizarre notion to me.
Not everyone grew up to be rich
There are
and
worse
powerful.
things than being kept in the circles.
Death, starvation, being hunted by rabid mobs? Yes, I can imagine. Some would say Tevinter is hardly better, depending on which mage you ask. Still, it's so utterly foreign. It's more surprising that everyone would take the idea of a mage inquisitor so calmly. Or maybe it's not calm. Maybe the Antivan crows are swimming in gold from all the contracts on your life. Good luck with that, by the way. Grand fun being the one in charge.
I'm sure you'll protect me from the Antivan
ask you about
assassins,
Tevinter.
hopefully.
Ah, yes. Everyone outside the Imperium always seems quite fascinated by it. Probably why they come up with so many ridiculous tales. Flying cows over Minrathous. It's madness. All right, that one's actually true, but the cows didn't have wings. I digress. Anything in particular you wanted to know?
I didn't realize blood magic was available in Tevinter.
Just how often is blood magic used there?
Oh, not at all.
Not at all.
That's what any magister would tell you. They'd be convincingly offended by the notion, too. Of course, what people call blood magic here and what we consider blood magic are two different things.
Wait, hold up. What does that
What's
mean?
considered actual blood magic in Tevinter?
Blood magic isn't inherently dangerous. Using your own blood or that of a willing participant, what's the harm? The problem is that what's permitted only gets you so much power. And what if you need more? You always need more. That's where we get into sacrifices and demon summoning. None of that is done. Not officially. Behind closed doors, it's a different story. Real blood magic can give you an edge, a leg up against your opponents. It's safe to assume that any mage of rank does it. The rest are quietly shut out of power, to put it bluntly.
And I thought we were talking about
Think the
corruption
Templars
here.
were checked.
I imagine they did, long ago. Once their investigations might have been sincere. Then their balls were cut off. Too inconvenient. Nowadays, only the friendless are accused. And most of them probably innocent.
Well, that's just all doom and gloom,
That's
huh?
all I wanted to know.
Fair enough.
I should go.
Senor, I'll be.
Definitely not very
Me?
I'd
good.
like to ask you about Tevinter.
Anything specific?
Doesn't give a good image for the Tevinters at all.
I'm wondering
Blood
if
magic in
Imperium
closed
would be a
doors. I
useful
mean,
ally.
behind closed doors.
I
Come
think
on.
we'd be more concerned
Sacrifices,
whether our
demon
offensive
summonings.
They won't do this. At least, not officially. They'll disavow all knowledge of dangerous cultists. Secretly, many magisters will rejoice at the idea. And if the South falls to chaos in the meantime, all the better.
It would be in the Imperium's best interest to help. Surely it could use allies.
I think the Imperium gave up on the idea of allies a long time ago. We've been fighting the Qunari for what? 200 years off and on? It's a point of pride that we go it alone. They'll sneer at the South behind their silk handkerchiefs and say, "You've had it easy for far too long." Let's not forget that the Inquisition seems to be an arm of the Orlesian chantry. Anathema so far as they're concerned.
We're not part of the chantry. The chantry opposed the Inquisition's formation.
You think that matters? Don't be silly. The Herald of Andraste. Your very title smacks of the Southern Chantry. You may as well be a heathen. I think they're far more frightened what you'll do if you succeed.
Again, just sick and tired of the politics behind, Tevinters,
There's an
chantries,
Imperial
things like that
chantry,
as
isn't
well.
there? With its own divine?
These people just don't give a damn about us, quite frankly. They don't give a
If you
damn
mention
about the
him
common
outside the
folk.
Imperium, people make that face, like you're urinating in public. But yes, we do have the Chantry, or a version of it. Night and day comparing it to yours.
Well, how so? I'm assuming it's just like a church.
Is the Imperial chantry so different from ours?
Not in theory. The main difference is in the whole magic is meant to serve man, not rule over him business. Back home, ruling the unwashed masses is serving them, for the good of the Imperium. Perhaps it started with good intentions, but these days it's academic. The circles are in command.
The circles are in
There are
command?
circles of magi in the Imperium?
We don't have dismal little mage prisons, if that's what you mean. They're academies, prestigious ones. We have Templars as well, but they don't cancel spells or whatever your Templars do. They're soldiers.
They don't use lyrium?
Ha! As if there'd be any left to them. They watch for abuse of magic, yes, but only those who are weak or who fall out of favor get dealt with. Mostly they enforce their magisterium's edicts. The Chantry smiles and nods from the sidelines.
Which also implies that the chantry has no real power
They call him the Black
over
Divine.
the mages.
We don't call him that, oh no. In the Imperium, he's the true divine. The woman sitting on the sunburst throne is some backwater pretender. It all stems from a disagreement over Andraste. Marvelous, isn't it?
Why would they disagree over Andraste?
It's not my field of expertise, but the Imperium believes Andraste was a mortal woman, a mage. Down south, they say, no, she's the bride of the Maker, ascended to his side, divine provenance, a blah blah blah. We feel better believing Andraste was one of us. Makes executing her less damning, you see. So we elected a man as divine, the South declared war, and we've been feuding cousins ever since.
Yeah, definitely more doom and
So
gloom.
the Imperial Divine is always a man?
All the better to distinguish him from that other one, yes. Don't think there aren't a number of female magisters who bristle at that. Why can't they be divine after all? Same reason you never see a man on the Sunburst throne. Because that's how it's always been done. Excellent reasoning.
Do you consider yourself Andrastian?
The big question. It might surprise you that I do consider myself Andrastian. I simply do not believe in the chantry. It is a relic, whether back home or here in the south. Something from a bygone age desperately clinging to relevance. It's not an opinion that makes me popular.
You've got to be kidding me, right, Dorian? You are a religious
I share your
man.
opinion, actually.
That's not surprising, considering what the Inquisition represents. I'll say this. I may not believe in the chantry, but I believe in you.
In me.
That the Maker sent you, whether through Andraste or fate. Cassandra is not wrong. You are what we needed most at the moment we needed it. That's what they will say in ages to come.
That's a big burden to carry on my shoulders, but
You don't seem like the religious...
I honestly don't know what to believe.
If you define religious as sitting in a chantry and listening to a blithering hen tell you how to live, then no. If you define it as believing in the possibility that something larger than yourself exists, then yes, by all means. The world is bigger than I, even bigger than you. It laughs at all the things we think we know. The Maker doesn't need me to believe, but I do. The thought of no one at all watching out for us is too frightening.
Let me ask you something else.
So many questions.
I actually have plenty of more questions to ask you.
It's strange that an entire empire would be ruled by mages.
Strange? Why are you less qualified to rule than some tart with a fancy crown? Actually, the fiction in the Imperium is that mages don't rule. The Magisterium rules. That magisters are all mages is considered a convenient technicality.
Oh, is that right?
What is the Magisterium, exactly?
The upper house of the Imperial Senate, and the only part worth having a seat on. Those seats are split among the circles of Magi, the Chantry, and the major families. All mages now. It's odd that outside the Imperium, you use Magister like it applies to every Tevinter mage.
I thought that was common knowledge.
What do you call? No special title?
I'm an Altus, which is almost as good as a Magister, depending on who you ask.
I've never heard of an Altus.
Upper class. Those families who trace descent from the Dreamers, the first prophets of the old gods. If you're a mage and you're not Altus, then you're later, lower class. If you're not a mage at all, you're Soperati. That's everyone else. We do love our fancy words.
That basically redefines bureaucracy.
Well, yes. Technically, he can overrule laws passed by the Magisterium, but that never happens. Even so, he gets to appoint new magisters, which means all the families vie madly for his favor. Thus, the Archon gets invited to all the parties. The truest path to Tevinter influence, let me tell you.
If it's a fiction, that means mages do rule, then.
Yes and no. Let me put it this way. Mages do rule, but not all mages are equal. If you're not from the right family, chances are you don't rule anything. Maybe you're even a slave. The idea that anyone could be a mage, however, keeps the masses placated.
So again, yes, they're ruled by mages, but it depends what your last name is and what your where your family comes from,
More
basically.
importantly, commoners believe it can. Tevinter legend is chock full of mage heroes from humble origins. So they hold out hope. Someday my son or my son's son will be a mage. Someday. Poor sods don't realize that means he'll be a quaestor at the arse end of the 100 Pillars, at best.
To put it
Being
bluntly.
a store isn't a good thing.
I imagine the average non-mage likes to think so. Counting numbers and shuffling papers all day is better than many occupations after all. If you're a second-class citizen among a pack of piranha, however, your outlook changes.
I see.
Let me ask you something else.
Of course.
Anyone who talks about the Imperium mentions slavery. It's the center of the slave trade.
Ah, that is true.
And did you have slaves?
Not personally, but my family does and treats them well. Honestly, I never thought much about it until I came south. Back home, it's how it is. Slaves are everywhere. You don't question it. I'm not even certain many slaves do.
Well, we don't have slaves in the South.
In the south, you have alienages, slums, both human and elven. The desperate have no way out. Back home, a poor man can sell himself. As a slave, he could have a position of respect, comfort, and could even support a family. Some slaves are treated poorly, it's true. But do you honestly think inescapable poverty is better?
That's a very, very controversial question. I just don't know how to answer it at this point. Right now, at least.
You think people choose to be poor and depressed? I doubt it. I don't know what it's like to be a slave, true. I never thought about it until I saw how different it was here. But I suspect you don't know either. Nor should you believe that every tale of Tevinter excess is the norm.
That's all I wanted to know.
Fair enough.
I should go.
Try not to kill anyone without me.
Will do. Definitely a very interesting chat with Dorion. A lot about the Magisterium, the Tevinter, different types of culture. Yeah.